there women, and how many women were there in supply chain in your team around you?
So unfortunately, supply chain is considered a very masculine field because historically speaking, it has actually been a very masculine field. Also because supply chain, in supply chain, a lot of these manufacturing companies would come in. A lot of these manufacturing companies have a good supply chain program, right? So, which means they have a lot of different factories, and factories are usually either in remote areas or have these third-party labor workers, etc., who we have men dealing with. So traditionally, it has been a very, very masculine sector, very masculine culture. So you will hardly ever see women there, historically speaking. Recently, things have changed, and I was just looking at the numbers. There was a survey in 2015 by Frenetics. This is about the global supply chain because it's a problem across supply chain globally that we have less women in this sector. So globally, in 2015, a survey, Frenetics survey said there are 70 to 80% men in the entire supply chain workforce. And in the leadership roles, there are 95% men. And in 2021, we had a Gartner research survey, which said that 40%, about 40% of the workforce is now women. So we have really improved over the years. And in leadership roles, from about 5% or less than 5%, the number of women, percentage of women have now increased to 15%. So yes, globally, it's a problem. It's a problem that has been identified and acknowledged, and people are working on it, and we can see a positive trend over the years as well. However, in Pakistan, we are lagging far, far behind on this. I don't think I know anybody in a leadership role in supply chain in Pakistan. There aren't many women in supply chain to begin with. There are global targets. Each of these companies have to have more gender diversity, especially in supply chain department. And we are performing extremely, extremely poorly on it. The rate of retention of women, female employees in supply chain is really bad. And there are problems around it. A lot of times we know what the problems are. Some companies, in some places, the problems, they're trying to address those issues. But unfortunately, I think we have a very long way to go, and there are a lot of things that need to change before we actually see the numbers improving in Pakistan.
Why is there such a poor retention of women in this sector in Pakistan?
There are many reasons. It really depends. So I have worked in 3 different companies, and each of these companies had completely different cultures, completely different leadership styles, very, very different from each other. So I think one of the main reasons why women would want to work in any company, irrespective of the department, is the culture of the company. So that plays a very, very important role. There are companies, I have personally worked in a company which will take risks for women, which will give equal opportunities to women. But then while they believe in equality, they won't give equity to women. So it is a masculine sector. It is coming from that masculine culture, right? Women are expected to, in some way, masculinize themselves, for the lack of a better word, in order to be successful in that kind of culture. And you will see a few women actually becoming successful or growing in those companies, but then you will also see how they have completely changed themselves. So there are companies like that. On the other hand, there are companies which are mindful of this, which that are creating the right kind of changes in the culture, making the culture more accepting of women, etc., making the right kind of changes and all. But on the other hand, they're very scared when it comes to their female talent, and they're not willing to take those risks. They're very, very risk averse. They want to be 100% sure that the person is ready to take that kind of responsibility or take that kind of role that they're volunteering for. And only if they're 100% sure they'll be able to perform well in that role, they'll take that chance with them. That's not the case with men. They'll take risks with men. They'll let men fail. They'll give them other opportunities. That's not the case with women. So I think we have a long way to go on either side